What did a crush do to make you lose interest immediately? Was on a picnic. He caught a fly with his hand. I must have looked impressed, so he followed it by throwing a shoe and hitting a nearby seagull. Weirdest freaking way to try to woo a girl. I don't know if I would call it impressed, but I've been laughing for a solid 5 minutes after reading that. The image of it in my head is hilarious. Girl told me she only finds black guys and Asians attractive. A lot of people mistaken me for being Asian. I'm Mexican. Ouch. I'm really sorry, man. It's alright, she soon found out and suddenly something came up and she couldn't have a boyfriend. Was it all the pinatas in your trunk? She was a lesbian and I am a guy, so I couldn't be a lesbian. Not with that attitude. I've told this story before, but he knocked out his teeth, said he's the Antichrist and asked me to join his harem. I wish I were making that up. And that's why you're now BF3 gamer widow, instead of BF3 gamer wife? We were making out and he burped into my mouth. Yep, that will do it. So what is proper etiquette when making out and feel a burp coming? Well, when I was dating, the proper etiquette was to go for the neck or something and then try to let it out as slowly and quietly as possible. Now that I'm married, the proper etiquette is to burp on my wife as loudly as possible. It's too late, she's stuck with me. Sounds about right. Not really a crush, but a few weeks ago, I was at the dog park and a guy came up to flirt with me. I was mildly interested until he started telling this bizarre story about how he used to have a rabbit, but got tired of it and threw it out into the backyard for his Rottweiler. Then he kept looking at me expectantly, as if I was supposed to join in with my own story of murdering a house pet. I just stood there blinking stupidly until he said, "So, you wanna ditch your dog and go see a movie with me?" Nah, I'm good. Was he suggesting you leave your dog at the park and never get it back, presumably? Even creepier. He wanted to walk me home so I could crate my dog and go with him. Like I'm going to let this weirdo walk with me so he knows where I live, and then cage my dog so I could go to a movie with a total stranger. I don't know if he was just stupid or a sociopath. Or, yes, my bunny killing escapades has gotten me laid quite a few times. Introduced me to her son. She and I were both 14 and her son was about a year old at the time. My freshman year of college, I had a huge crush on a guy in my intro programming class. We sat beside each other, and while I could complete the exercises easily, he was visibly struggling. So I offered to tutor him after hours. He got upset that a girl was better at computer stuff than him and dropped the class. I'm sure dropping the class made him better at computers. It's not about being good at X. It's about being better than someone at X. This is an interesting story, because the guy double fricked up. He could have improved his computer skills and dated a girl in the process. It's tragic, actually. It wasn't our first date, but our first date at a restaurant. He was intolerably rude to the waiter. The waiter never even did anything wrong. He was just treating the poor guy like a worthless slave. Left date at restaurant and never called him again. I feel like waiters have seen so many dates crash and burn. I still cringe when I think about embarrassing things dates have said or done, and the waiter is making eye contact with me like, "What are you doing, girl?" Agreed. I was a server for a long time, and the worst was waiting on people that were in the middle of a blind date and had no clue what to talk about, so they would just try to talk to me as much as possible. This happened on a date I went on from OkCupid. Guy was extremely rude to the waitress and was snobby as hell. He made me feel really uncomfortable, so I just paid my portion of the bill at the bar and left after saying, "Hey, sorry, but I can't do this and I need to leave now. Bye." Got asked out by a cute guy wearing a leather motorcycle jacket, probably mid-20s, while I was waitressing. He was taking his dad out to lunch at the time. I thought, oh how nice, tough and sensitive. He picked me up for coffee, showed up with a Hannah Montana t-shirt, spent the first 20 minutes talking about how he was homeschooled and loved that he still lived with his parents, and how hanging out with his mum was better than going to college. Damn, did I read that vibe wrong? Did he mention a race car bed and that his roommates just got him some sweet new rims for it? You mean your parents? Yeah, Same thing. I think you may have been duped by an evil twin. When I was in the 3rd grade, I had a huge crush on this guy named Robert. We went to Scotland for a school field trip, and I asked if I could buy him a soda. He said no. I was hurt, as any 80-year-old girl would be. But a half hour later, I saw he had bought this girl Ali a soda. I'm pretty sure I ran into the bathroom and cried. Anyways, I found my elementary school diary a few months ago and saw an entry I wrote from this night. All it said was Robert loves Ali. He doesn't love me. I am heartbroken. He got his hair cut kinda short and I discovered a huge, fleshy, hairy, pink mole. It was so gross. I was like 16 and I avoided him until his hair grew back. We're married now. You married his mole? It grew on her. Played games. Games as in acting hot, cold, instant turn off. Were they yes and then no? More like in, out. No. I'm pretty sure it was more up and down. I know it was wrong, then right. She hung up on me. I was 14 and had pined after her for about 8 months. I had joined the choir to get close to her. I had started playing the motherfucking violin so that I could be in music classes with her. I was in love with her, and she knew it. Okay, so I made it kind of obvious, but I was trying to work up the courage to ask her out. We were friends, and in the same social group. Unfortunately it had become a bit of a standing joke. Has Dana asked her out yet? But the week before the school dance I finally grew a pair. I call her up and the call goes like this. Hi Kate, it's Danny. Oh hey. You know the dance coming up next week at school? Yeah, double quote. Well I was wondering, are you going? Yeah I think so. Would you, like to, go with me? Click. She hung up on me. And it broke me down. It took me a week to ever be able to speak to her again, and took me years to ask another girl out. On the upside, at our 10-year school reunion she actually apologized for handling it so badly. I told her that I'd forgive her if she'd dance with me. And she did. You're married now, right? Doesn't matter, you are married in my imagination. Yeah I'm married now. Not to her though. Yes you are. Shut up. I'm so glad you and Kate made it work. How are the kids? Kicked my cat and said I hate cats. Well, get the frick out of my house then. Can't people just hate cats, or any animal, without hurting them? I don't see how, even if you do hate them, kicking a cat is ever appropriate. Yet I hear stories like this all the time. Stuff like that instantly makes my blood boil. I can't even describe how what the frick that thought process seems to me and get murder fantasies when I think about someone doing that to my cat. She was going to her party and I said you seem pretty unenthusiastic about going. She replied with don't use big words. A lot of people mistake having a large vocabulary for being pretentious. I used the word dilapidated once and my friends never let me forget it. I said something to my daughter the other day about people using obscure words to make themselves feel smarter. She said like you just did? She thought obscure was an obscure word. Started to like me back. She likes me? The frick is wrong with her? Maybe I set my standards too low. Sometimes I think that the fact that the woman showed interest in me is half the reason I like her. I don't want to belong to any club that will accept people like me as a member. Groucho Marx. I could never respect a woman who is so desperate she would date me. I had a crush on this guy for so long. He had a beard, check, loved coffee and beer check and check, and could make me laugh, mega check. He moved out of the state for a short while for work, but when he came back, I met him at a bar for his returning home party. Everything was going fine for the majority of the night, lots of flirting on his end. But he kept drinking, and drinking, and drinking some more. He ended up getting shit-faced and one of his friends asked me if I could give him a lift home. I said sure, why not? Here's where the problems started. Homeboy wouldn't tell me where he lived, for one. In his defense, he may have just been super drunk and incoherent, but it was still frustrating. I was house sitting for my grandmother at the time, so I told him he was welcome to crash in her guest bedroom and I'd give him a ride home the next morning. We get back to my grandmother's house. I pull into the garage, and without skipping a beat, my crush opens the door and just vomits all over the garage floor. Better than the kitchen floor, but it was spreading, and by the time he was all done, it had reached the walls. So I took him inside and gave him a glass of water and showed him where the bathroom was. By this time, it was at least 3 AM, so I was exhausted. I passed out in my grandmother's bedroom to the sound of my crush. He was slowly losing that title, spewing. Fast forward to 6 AM. I wake up to my crush standing right next to the bed staring at me, asking where he was. I explained and took him down to the guest bedroom. He had been sleeping on the bathroom floor. When I went back upstairs to turn the light off in the bathroom, the smell hit me. Shit. The dude left a giant pile of unflushed shit mixed in with vomit. I gagged, flushed it, and went back to bed. After I realized I had lost all attraction to this guy, I gave him a ride home. Didn't get an apology, but I did get a drool-filled, awkward kiss that I did not want. Then I came back and spent 2 hours cleaning up vomit. It was Christmas Eve, too. The end. The OP was asking how you lost interest in your crush, not how they gagged and tortured your interest until they killed it and dumped it in the quarry. But seriously, worst night ever right there. The Quarry. A tale of tortured interest. I'd read the shit out of this book. A man with a beard who likes coffee and beer? Wherever did you find this mystical man? I've been on a similar date, except dude drank 25 drinks and was pretty functional by the end of the night, so I realized he was an alcoholic. This was a throwaway comment. Didn't realize so many people were going to blow up my inbox with stupid commentary. I don't think the fact that I don't want to hang around someone that can and will drink that much, especially on a date with someone that doesn't drink, makes me a bad person or having high standards. Lots of you are probably young and are used to getting drunk on dates, but in the adult world, it's super awkward and makes your date feel icky when you're slurring and staggering a bit by the end of the night. It's not attractive.